Hello everyone, this is Lord Kurnion and I am here with week 4 of the Escalation League. This is 1,000 points, Demons of Chaos, and this week I'm drawn up against Lord Malossar again. We've sort of had a little bit of attrition in the Escalation League. A lot of people just aren't showing up anymore, not really planning any games. So Malossar and I decided to set up a game for 1,000 points, just kind of mix it up. And so yeah, my initial army, what I was planning to take, had involved Demons of Chaos, Demon Prince. I had some Juggernauts, I had a couple Fleshhounds, and some Furies of Khorne. I thought it was a pretty good 1,000-point list, but not really over the top. But as soon as I saw Malossar's High Elf list, I decided quickly to change my strategy and take a much harder list. So I'm going to go over Malossar's army list first to give you an idea of what I was talking about and why I decided to change my list. He had a Lethanar, a Lore Master with the Gem of Sunfire, 16 archers with full command, 5 reavers with bows and standard, and 3 repeater bolt throwers. So yeah, he's got 3 repeater bolt throwers in rare, and a Lethanar who's a mobile bolt thrower, combined with basically the rest of it is basically a gun line, and then a Lore Master throwing out a bunch of damage spells. So this is a ridiculously hard 1,000-point list. I think it's probably one of the better lists you can get. Hard to get points, it dances around you, it shoots you to hell, basically. And just take stuff off with a large number of high-strength shots. So after seeing this, I decided to change up my army. I ended up going with a Bloodthirster, 15 Bloodletters, 5 Fleshhounds, 5 Furies unmarked, and a Skull Cannon. So yeah, I mean the obvious 2 power choices here, the Bloodthirster and the Skull Cannon, being extraordinarily powerful even at 2,000 points or 2,500 points. At 1,000 points, they're pretty ridiculous here. I thought this gave me a much better chance. I thought this made it a more fair matchup than before. So with that, we go into deployment phase. Going left to right, he has a bolt thrower over here on the far left. And then the rest of his army dropped on the far right. He has, going left to right, his reavers, his archers with both the Lore Master and a Lethanar. A Lethanar's model is that tree in the middle of the front rank. It's actually a pretty cool conversion that Malossar has done. It has a Lethanar's model. He is shooting a bow upside down, doing a backflip out of a tree. It's pretty cool pose on the model. So yeah, I really like that model. Then on the hill, he has 2 repeater bolt throwers. Yep, just kind of casting in this corner. So me left to right, this is towards my center. Behind these ruins, I have my Skull Cannon. And then over here on the far right, yeah, so he didn't have a great number of drops, so I was able to see where he put his archers before I had to drop anything important. So over here, I just kind of put everything. I have my Bloodthirster, my Furies, my Fleshhounds, and my Bloodletters on the far flank. Their goal is just to march up full steam, get into range and charge those archers ideally. The scenario we rolled up is Blood and Glory. So I have the Bloodthirster and the Bloodletters as my fortitude of 3. So basically, the general being 2, I need to keep my general alive. If the Bloodthirster survives the game, I at the very least get a draw. If he dies, then I lose immediately. For Malossar's army, he has a banner on the Reavers, he has a banner on the Archers, and then he has his general. So he's got a total of 4. So I need to get a Lethanar, and I need to get 1 unit to break him. Which I think is possible. You know, I need to obviously aim for his units. If I can kill his units, then I just need his general. Right now, obviously, the primary target is the Archers. If I can do a lot of damage to them, you know, if I catch a Lethanar in that unit, I pretty much win the game. So High Elves win the roll-up for first turn, and he really doesn't move at all. So we go straight into Magic and Shooting. So Magic, he had forgotten, I'm not sure if anyone plays against Fleshhounds very often, but they have a 5-up ward save and then MR3. So they have a 2-up ward save versus all offensive magic. So against Malossar's first spell, which was I think a level 2 fireball, at these Fleshhounds, I was like, sure, take it. I get 2-up ward save, and I'll enjoy that very much. So no wounds were done in his magic phase. I was able to stop his other spell at my Bloodletters. But shooting, between the 2 bolt throwers, the Archers, and the Reavers, he's able to deal 4 wounds to these Fleshhounds, which I think is a little bit below average, so I'll take it. But they're definitely a depleted unit now. And we go to Demons of Chaos turn 1. So I move my Bloodthirster and my Furies into that woods there. They're both out of arc of sight of the Reavers. The Furies don't look like it right now, but that's because they just couldn't balance on the thing. I made it clear to Malossar, it's like, okay, these guys are out of arc of sight, that's my goal. He's like, okay, sure, that's fine. Always better to check with your opponents when you make a move rather than have a debate about it later. So I checked with him. I was like, this is my intention. It's just not balancing. He's like, sure, that's fine. So they're out of arc of sight. They're facing towards the middle. The Bloodthirster's also facing towards the archers. Right now, I think it's a 16-inch charge to the archers right now. So, yeah, pretty decent chance of pretty much forcing him to back up. What I'm predicting him to do with his Reavers is basically to dance them around behind and look at the rear of my Flesh Hounds, and that's why the Furies right there are facing towards the right flank of the table. If he does that with his Reavers, I'm going to have a nice flank charge with my Furies into his flank. I think 5 Furies being strength 4, charging into the flank of Reavers, I have a decent chance of winning that combat. And if I win that combat, he could break, and I mean, at the very least, if he breaks, I get his banner, which is nice, which is all I'm after, really, for that unit. I don't need to score victory points, I just need to get rid of banners. So, I figured that would put some pressure on him, so that was the goal. The Fleshhounds advanced kind of up pretty aggressively. I'm really not worried about his Reavers charging me. Fleshhounds are pretty tough. They're strength 4 base, strength 5 on the charge. High weapon skill. If he charges me, I mean, he might kill one. I'll kill a couple back. At the very least, that unit should still be there at the end of the turn to open up the flank charge with the Furies, make it a little bit easier. So that's why they advanced there. Meanwhile, the Bloodletters just advanced full steam down the flank of the army, directly towards the archers. And the cannon advanced towards the center of the table. Yeah, the skull cannons are ridiculous. I mean, you know, on top of having a cannon, they're as tough as a Gorby's Chariot for Warriors of Chaos, roughly. So I advanced. I didn't want to just sit there and treat him like a cannon. I wanted to push him up and maybe use him as a long-range threat charge with his impact hits later in the game if I need to. So that was the goal there, but I also wanted to take some shots at his bolt throwers. So magic was uneventful. The winds dice didn't do anything. So we go into shooting phase. So I didn't do the optimal 10 inches from the back of the bolt thrower. I wanted to take a chance. I put it so basically 10 inches was the spot was 10 inches from the front of the bolt thrower. The idea there was if I roll a 2 or a 4, I hit a Lethanar, and then with a decent bounce, I'll hit the bolt thrower as well. I mean, it's unlikely that I'll fail the Lookout Sir, but I mean, hey, there's always a chance, and if I kill him, pretty much the game is in my hands. So it was worth making him pass the Lookout Sir. I did roll short on the first bounce. I hit a Lethanar and one more. He passed his Lookout Sir, though, so it only hit 2 archers. And I failed to wound 1, so I killed 1 archer there. It bounced far enough, though, and it hit the bolt thrower and killed that. Panics were fine on the archers, which is fine, but I was able to drop the bolt thrower with that shot, which was nice. We got a High Elves turn 2. So he just kind of backs up with his archers. Swift reforms him and backs him up 3 inches, making it a nice long charge for my Bloodthirster and making sure that I'm in the front arc of Lethanar who can stand and shoot with his bolt thrower bow. So that's not a charge that I want to take anymore. Otherwise, he did exactly what I thought he would do with the Reavers. He danced them around and put them behind my Fleshhounds to look at the rear. Magic phase, he cast Ice Shard Blizzard with 2 dice on my Furies. I had to let it go because I wanted to stop Shem's Burning Gaze. He was able to roll pretty hot with the Ice Shard lore attribute for Heavens, which is D6 strength 4 hits. He killed 4 of my Furies with that, which was a little bit lucky there. But I was able to stop the rest of his spells. Shooting phase, the bolt thrower on the far left takes a shot at this skull cannon. 4+ to hit, hits. 3+ to wound, wounds. 5+ ward save failed, and he does 2 wounds to me. So a pretty good shot there with that bolt thrower. And then between the other bolt thrower, the archers, and the reavers, he kills the rest of the Fleshhounds, which is fair. So Demons of Chaos turn 2, the Bloodletters continue to push up, and the Bloodthirster flies out of the woods and lands right where you see him. So right now I'm about 12 inches away from the archer's flank. I'm too close right now to where if he advances full steam to the left with his Lore Master will get out of arc of sight. But once again, this is Blood and Glory, so I don't really care about his Lore Master. I don't need to score victory points. I just need to kill his general and his banners. His Lethanar cannot get out of arc of sight on my Bloodthirster, so that was the goal there. I kind of wanted to trap him between my Bloodletters and my Bloodthirster. And yeah, so that was the goal there. And even with me being this close, 12 inches away, even if he swift reforms and marches directly away from a Bloodthirster, I still have a pretty easy charge into him. So that's why I wanted to go there, to pretty much guarantee the charge for me next turn into his archers. Skull Cannon continues to advance and takes angle to shoot at the remaining bolt thrower on this side. And the Fury just kind of dances behind this ruins. I really don't have anything to do with him anymore. Only one left. He's not going to do much. He might be able to redirect later, but I just want to get him out of sight, so in case I need to redirect with him later, I can. Cannon takes a shot, and he kills the other bolt thrower, which was nice. And we got a High Elves turn 3. So I made a little bit of a mistake here. I pulled my bloodletters a little bit too far away from the table edge and gave him exactly 2 inches so we can get Alethanar out of the unit and around the bloodletters to put where you see that dice. Alethanar wasn't bouncing on the hill, so we just replaced it with a dice, which was fine. So he was able to get around me due to my mistake. It was a little bit careless movement there on my part to let him get around me with the 1-inch rule. So Alethanar is pretty much well protected. And the Lore Master did what I thought he would and danced out of sight, but like I said, I don't really care because all I'm after for this game is banners. These guys danced around to take a shot at my Fury, just because. And then the Bolt Thrower on the far left. Once again, shoots at this thing, at the Skull Cannon, the only thing in range. 4+ to hit, he hits. 3+ to wounds, he wounds. Failed ward save, and the last 2 wounds. So 2 shots, 4 wounds on a Skull Cannon. Pretty good shooting for that Bolt Thrower. I think those guys deserve a raise. And yep, there he is over there, sniping Skull Cannons left, right, and center. Well, I guess just center in this case. Between magic and shooting with the archers, he kills, I believe it's 5 bloodletters. Alethanar was going to shoot at my Bloodthirster, but the Bloodthirster isn't... I mean, bloodletters are pretty tall, and he's right next to them, so it would have been hard cover. So he just shoots at the bloodletters, but I pass my first ward save, and it doesn't let it penetrate any rank. So 4 bloodletters down. Otherwise, I'm pretty much unscathed, which is nice. These guys shoot, and they completely whip at this Fury, which was nice. So he's still alive somehow. And we go to Demons of Chaos turn 3. So I took the charge into the archers. My goal here is obviously to kill them. I mean, perfect world, I'll kill him in 2 turns, or drop him to below 5 in 2 turns, basically. They would be breaking in his turn then, and I could reform to face towards Alethanar and maybe get a lucky long-range charge into Alethanar that way. So that was the goal there. I know he's going to challenge first turn, which is fine. But like I said, I just want to get rid of him by the end of his turn. Because Alethanar got out of arc of sight here, I couldn't charge him, so I just swift reform and made myself a little bit wider. I should have gone a little bit wider than this even, I think, and you'll see why. Basically, if he marches straight to the left, he can get out of arc of sight of the bloodletters. I should have kicked myself wider and make it so he couldn't get out of arc of sight at all of my bloodletters. Bloodletters have killing blows, so it's unlikely that Alethanar would do some damage to the bloodletters, but with killing blow, all it takes is 1/6 and a failed ward save, and at the very least, it'll at least tie him up, give me a charge of my bloodthirster. So I should have gone wider to trap Alethanar that way and bog him down, but I didn't. So in combat, magic, obviously it's my turn, so magic was irrelevant. I don't have any shooting left, so we go to combat. He challenges with his champ, and I obviously stomp him. He loses, but he's steadfast, and he stands. So High Elf turn 4, he passes his march check and is able to get out of arc of sight of my bloodletters. Like I said, this was my mistake. And he's looking down the flank of the bloodletters, trying to deal some more damage to them. The bolt thrower, so I didn't show it, this guy came out from behind the cover and started moving the long, slow trek to the other side of the board. See if I can get a late game charge on the bolt thrower that got the lucky shots into my skull cannon. So he was moving there. I think right now his Reavers were still shooting at me. He shoots, he hits with 1, he wounds, and I pass my ward save. So pretty lucky. This guy's clinging to life by passing ward saves, which was nice. And then between Alethanar's shot and I believe it was a Shem's Burning Gaze on these guys, another 4 or 5 bloodletters bite the dust, which is unfortunate, so I have 5 left. And then here in this combat, my Bloodthirster, as expected, goes to town. But when the dust settles from the end of this combat, he has 5 guys left. It's like, ooh. Just steadfast, he stands, which is terrible. Because, I mean, if I was able to kill this unit, was able to break them, I could have reformed and maybe gotten a lucky long-range charge on Alethanar. He's not looking at me, so he can't stand and shoot. It would have been a great opportunity, but he stands by 1, which interestingly is my 1 failed to wound roll from my Strength 10 cannon that somehow just chipped the nail of one of these archers and didn't really do any damage aside from that. It's a little unfortunate there, but so he's standing there, which is the last thing I wanted. We go to Demons of Chaos turn 4. My Bloodthirster's bogged down. I don't have any other units remaining. Alethanar was out of arc of sight, but these guys moved up a little bit too aggressively, so I charged with my Bloodletters into the Reavers. I was able to make it as well, which was nice. I think I needed like an 8, and I made it. I'm not sure how this combat's going to go. He's got ASF, so he's got rerolls, but on weapon skill 5, so it's a pretty good chance of me hitting him if anything survives to swing back. And then I'm wounding on 2s because I'm strength 5 on the charge. So, interesting to see how this combat will turn out. Combat, yeah, the Bloodthirster just goes to town and wipes the rest of the unit. Nothing's even left to flee. And I reformed to face towards Alethanar and the Loremaster. Then in combat here, yeah, these guys go crazy. He does 1 wound to me after armor and ward saves. I have 4 guys left, one of whom is the unit champion. I swing back, all 5 hit, wounding on 2+, all 5 wound, strength 5, so he's got no armor left, so I take off the unit, which was pretty awesome. Good rolling there for me, and got rid of the unit that way, so that was pretty amazing. I was able to reform the face towards Alethanar. Alethanar passed another march check and dances out of sight again of the Bloodletters, which is unfortunate. He's also well out of range of my Bloodthirster. So at this point, from my side, I'm just kind of thinking draw. As long as my Bloodthirster survives, he can't win the game. And with Alethanar being so far away, the last thing I want is Alethanar getting a bunch of shots at my Bloodthirster. Strength 7 bolt, pretty good chance of killing me after a couple of shots. So he just kind of dances here. Excuse me. Shem's Burning Gaze gets through again, though, and it gets rid of the Bloodletters before they get a chance to do anything more. I failed a ridiculous number of ward saves despite my magic resistance here. I think he only did 4 or 5 wounds, and out of all my excuse me, out of all my 4+ ward saves, I fail all but 1, and so it drops the rest of the unit. That leaves Alethanar free to shoot at my Bloodthirster. He hits, he wounds, I fail my ward, and he does 1 wound, so at least he didn't do more than that. And we go to Demons of Chaos turn 5. So yeah, as I said, I'm going for the draw here. So I just start to dance away from his guys. High off turn 6, he moves his Loremaster and Alethanar into range. And that was pretty much it. So magic wasn't able to do any wounds. Alethanar hit, and then he failed to wound my Bloodthirster. That was nice. So now I'm thinking I pretty much have a draw locked up here. So I continue to move my Bloodthirster this way. I move him 20 inches. You know, I don't want Alethanar to get another shot at me in his turn, so pretty much there's no way he can get into range for me this time, so I'm safe from Alethanar, which is nice. Only way to do that, though, is to open myself up to the Bolt Thrower. We didn't know it was turn 6 here, so we played a turn after this, which was a mistake. But I figured, you know, Bolt Thrower will get 1 chance to kill me, otherwise I'll charge into him and kill him, overrun off the board, and then it'll be a tie. High off turn 7, oops. Yeah, so he just moves his Loremaster into long range, spell range. Magic goes off. He's able to do 1 wound to me with his magic. I believe it was a Spirit Leech, Death Sig. Regardless of what it was, he does 1 wound to me. The Bolt Thrower shoots at me and does another 2 wounds, so I'm left with 1 wound remaining. So at this point I'm thinking, alright, fine. I got the draw locked up, my Bloodthirster survive, I'll charge in the Bolt Thrower, kill him, overrun off the board, great. Yep, so Demons of Chaos turn 7, oops. I charge the Bloodthirster, he's got 1 wound remaining, into the Bolt Thrower. And we go straight to combat because nothing else really more. We roll wins because it could potentially kill his general. Yeah, so what happened in combat, he's 5+ to hit, he hits. He's 6+ to wound, he wounds. And yeah, I then go and fail my ward save, and my Bloodthirster dies to Bolt Thrower crew, which is pretty embarrassing. But, I mean, all things considered, we shouldn't have even been playing turn 7, and even if we were playing turn 7, I should not have charged here. I should have just kind of taken the draw. But I wanted to kill something else, which ended up not working in my favor. So he died, I am officially broken, I have nothing left on the table, and so it's a win for the High Elves. Anyway, that's the report. I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you guys next time.